Hey, I'm Matt Mahler with MovieWeb. It's a real pleasure to speak with you. I hope you're both doing well.
Thank you
Very
so
well, thank you, Matthew. I hope you're well.
Awesome. Yeah. It was great to see these characters brought to life in such uh, complicated, multi-dimensional ways. It was refreshing. They really come off the page, especially Goliath, who really gets pigeonholed as one thing, but the show gives a wide breadth for you to explore. Yeah. What did
Absolutely.
you draw from with that, Martin? Because not all of that is sort of in the original story, but how did you sort of extrapolate it?
Absolutely. And I think what you've picked on there is, for me was the biggest sell point was this story really gives Goliath humanity. It gives you a chance to understand his motivation and his drive. And it also asks the audience a huge question of how would you react to this scenario, and do you think Goliath is all bad, or do you think there's a purpose and a reason, and then ultimately a motivation towards it? They're all interesting questions, and ultimately it gives Goliath a lot more depth. It gives him substance, and for me as an actor, it was so refreshing to be able to have this character to play who's not only such a phenomenal character in history for all the wrong reasons, but such an interesting individual as well, from where he evolves and his roots and the story behind him. So that element of him was easy to play. The element of his motivation and his drive for me came from how I would feel if it happened to me. How would I react if that happened in my life? And that's where it came from. It was a very real emotion. I don't want to give away too much, but I'm sure you've seen the episodes now. So the turning point for me was a very real emotion, and it was probably one of the most powerful scenes I've ever shot. And I think it comes across really well. And for me as an individual who's always the bad guy, it was nice to have some of those moments in the show.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's done very well. And Michael, I mean, almost on the polar opposite end, David is often sort of pigeonholed as the iconic underdog, perfect underdog figure. But what did you find in playing him that is sort of more relatable or human than that? What aspects of David did you discover in that process?
One of the most interesting things for me about David is that he's just a teenage boy in this story. He's trying to figure himself out. He's doing one of the kind of roughest jobs, not exactly the most glamorous. He's a shepherd. He's out with sheep. He's in the mud and dirt and not the best parts of the sheep always. And so he's spending a lot of time alone. He's in solitude a lot, and so I think that just adds so much to his circumstance. And in the end, he's just trying to find his place in the world, and his relationship with his family and his relationship with God is ultimately one that leads him on this huge journey, one that I don't think he ever expects. Um, but because of his heart and because of his relationship to God and to music and to the people around him, um, extraordinary people under extraordinary circumstances are going to do extraordinary things. Um,
Yeah,
so
absolutely. And you do really feel close to God at moments. It beautiful. First Samuel and the Nevi'im is just one part of scripture in the Bible, which is almost like the first like franchise in a way. It builds on itself over centuries, creating this canon that is the Bible today. And Martin, you've been in much more secular franchises, but they still kind of contain that the big archetype, of morality. And uh, I'm curious about Red Sonja, how your character there might compare to Goliath, and if you have any information about when that might be released, and then I'll let you guys go.
I think there's always similarities between the ultimate bad guys and the mannerisms and their energies. I think ultimately the only thing that changes is that the vehicle and of why they do what they do. My character in Red Sonja, I'm not going to give too much away about that, is larger than life and phenomenal visual to look at. I'm not 100% sure on the release date of that yet. I am eager for that to come out because I want to see it. I shot it. The filming was phenomenal for that. It was a while back that we shot that, so I'm hopeful that'll be out in the next couple of months. But all of these bad guys that I've had the privilege of playing all carry that Martin-esque arrogance about them and grandeur. I'd like to think that's what I'd leave on the character.
Well, thank you both for discussing this. You bring this ancient thing to life in a beautiful way. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Matthew. Take care, buddy.